Good evening, it's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Desawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabo.
And I am Martin Asiedu Date. Let's look at the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank, Nero Prime Water.
Coming up, evacuation of Ghanaians from South Africa sparks backlash online with growing calls for economic retaliation against South African businesses in Ghana.
And also coming up tonight, minority in Parliament calls for operationalization of Wager Specialist Hospital without further delay.
And later in the bulletin, President John Mahama says Ghana's economic transformation demands deeper reforms, saying citizens expect systems that deliver and opportunities that drive growth.
Later in business news, Ghanaian businesses clinch more than $7 billion in upstream oil contracts as sector revival sparks fresh opportunities.
On the international front, deadly fire at Kenya school, which claims 16 lives, raises new safety concerns over boarding facilities. We are live around the world on 3news.com. We are also streaming on Facebook and on YouTube, so do let us know what you make of the stories we have for you tonight.
The news now in detail, and some 35 residents in Wager have been evacuated to safer locations by the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, as authorities intensify rescue efforts following the continuous spillage of the Wager Dam by the Ghana Water Company. Several homes in Wager, Titigu and surrounding communities have been submerged, forcing many residents to flee their homes in search of safety.
The ongoing spillage from the Wager water treatment plant has led to rising water levels across affected communities, destroying properties and displacing thousands of families. A visit to the area on Thursday saw residents hurriedly moving their belongings to nearby communities, while others sought temporary shelter with relatives and friends. Later, a delegation from the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, led by the Regional Minister, Linda Akwele-Oklu, together with military personnel and NADMO officials, toured some of the flood-hit communities to assess the extent of damage and ongoing rescue operations. The Greater Accra Regional NADMO Director disclosed that at least 35 residents had already been evacuated and accommodated in temporary shelters set up by the organization.
The dam will still be open as far as we receive heavy rains from Insawam. This dam is being fed by another dam at Insawam. So it means that as it's full now, it means that Insawam is spilling at full capacity. So this one, they are controlling the spillage. Now they are operating above their maximum operation level, that is 47 feet. They are doing 42 as of today. And these are updates that we receive from Ghana Water on daily basis. And we communicate same to the communities, so they are aware.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Akwele-Oklu, appealed to residents to cooperate with emergency officials and relocate to safer areas to avoid casualties.
We are only pleading with them, like I said, they should agree to the evacuation, understand and evacuate. In fact, their life matters more than even everything. Sometimes they value their property than relocated, and so we'll plead with them that they should agree to it. I mean, this is a temporary arrangement we are doing. We'll bring them back when the place is okay.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Water Company says the controlled spillage of the Wager Dam will continue as long as water levels remain above operational capacity, raising concerns that more downstream communities could be affected in the coming days. Flooding in the catchment area in the Wager water treatment plant is not new. The Wager headworks sits on the Densu River, with the plant supplying about 80% of potable water to parts of Accra and its environs. Authorities have looked on while land within the dam's catchment area has been sold for residential development, threatening the safety and integrity of the dam. This attitude appears to permeate almost every aspect of national life in Ghana, and if nothing is done to address the trend, a future disaster could be far more devastating, leading to the loss of lives and properties. Joseph Armstrong, Good Alibo TV3, Weja, Accra.
Clearly, it's a serious concern there. We hope that they will eventually leave those areas, as this spillage is an annual ritual. Away from those issues, let's go to the courts now. And the Supreme Court has rejected former Attorney General Godfrey Yeboadame's request to withdraw his legal services as counsel for former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu after describing it as defective. The Apex Court held that the lead counsel for the former Chief Justice failed to serve his client with a letter of withdrawal notice. The court was hearing the suit challenging the removal process of former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu. Lord Edwasare was in court and reports.
When the case was called, the 7-member panel of the Supreme Court, chaired by Justice Amadou Tanko, indicated that there was no notice to show that the former Chief Justice, Gertrude Tokonu, had been served with a notice of withdrawal by her lawyer. The Apex Court, however, held that due to the public interest in the case, it would adopt the processes filed on record by former Attorney General Godfrey Yeboadame on her behalf. The panel then directed the court registrar to serve the proceedings of the day as well as the notice of withdrawal on the former Chief Justice. The 4 suits challenging the processes leading to the removal of Gertrude Tokonu were consolidated into 2 cases. The former Chief Justice's case has been merged with the one filed by the Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral Systems, LBG, while the suit filed by Otafo Member of Parliament Vincent Asifwa has been consolidated with the one filed by private citizen Theodore Kofi Korte. The Supreme Court subsequently set July 2 for judgments in the case. Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai commented on the action by the former Attorney General.
No, we don't have. He is a private practitioner who had his arrangement with his clients. I don't know the reason for his withdrawal and those from it. Yeah, he's entitled to withdraw. To ask for any client that he wants. If he doesn't want to meet anymore, that's the system break. That's a check. The most important thing is that the court said the case to proceed because he has finished everything in this. Even 5 issues before submitting it.
Lord Edwasare, TV3 News, Accra.
Lawyers of the former National Signal Bureau Director Kwabena Edu-Boahen have expressed delight at the decision of the Court of Appeal after their appeal in relation to further disclosures from the Attorney General was partially granted. Despite dismissing the request for the disclosure of the bank account of the National Security from 1992 to date, the Court of Appeal also directed the prosecution to provide files put together by the former National Security Coordinator in connection with the case. Another report by Lord Edwasare.
Signals Bureau Director Kwabena Edu-Boahen and his wife have appealed the July 2025 High Court decision dismissing their request for further disclosures of several documents from the Attorney General, which they argued would help the case. Among other things, the appellant sought to overturn the High Court ruling by Justice Eugene Nyantei-Nyedu and secure a stay of proceedings until the exculpatory evidence is made available to Edu-Boahen or his lawyers. In a ruling by a 3-member panel, the Court of Appeal ordered the Attorney General to disclose the source of the 49.1 million cedis in the National Security Coordinator's Special Operations account, which was transferred to the BNC Communications Bureau Limited account with UMB Bank. The court also ordered the disclosure of portions of a file compiled by the former National Security Coordinator in connection with the Edu-Boahen's trial. Additionally, the court ordered former National Security Coordinator Joshua Treme to make full disclosure on whether the 49.1 million cedis was intended solely for the acquisition of a cyber defense system. Relief sought by Edu-Boahen's lawyers, which were dismissed by the court, included a request for records of the National Security Special Operations account from 1992 to date. The appellant's plea for the names of private national security operatives serving as sources of confidential assistance was also dismissed by the court. Samuel Atachia reacted to the Court of Appeal's decision.
One of them, which is very consequential, is how the former National Security Coordinator showed
give us the purpose for the 49.1 million Ghana cedis, because he will understand why the 49.1 million Ghana cedis was paid into that particular national security coordinators. I think accounts from Rawlinson's time to date, as well as the operatives, the names of the operatives and the assets they use for national security activities. They are unable to do all that disclosures.
With this decision, prosecution led by the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Tremsai, we expected to file these further disclosures that's directed by the Court of Appeal to aid the defense lawyers in the former National Signals Bureau Director's trial. We see how this development will essentially affect the case of Kwabena Idubuahene and his spouse, Angela Ejei-Boateng, and the third accused in the matter, Advantage Solutions, even as the case progresses. Lord Idwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
And away from the courts, the evacuation of hundreds of Ghanaians from South Africa following renewed xenophobic attacks is now fueling a much broader conversation here at home. What began as outrage over attacks is gradually evolving into deeper questions about economic sovereignty, foreign investment, and whether Ghana should rethink how its strategic resources are managed. And at the center of that debate is Goldfields Tarkwa mining lease. Safa Boahene has more.
For many Ghanaians following the developments in South Africa, the reactions online go beyond frustration over xenophobic attacks. On Wednesday, 297 Ghanaians evacuated from South Africa returned home after renewed attacks targeting foreign nationals. Since then, social media has been flooded with reactions, but increasingly the conversation is shifting beyond diplomacy. One hashtag now gaining traction is hashtag Don't Renew Goldfields Lease, a campaign urging government not to renew the Tarkwa mining lease held by South African mining giant Goldfields. The company's current lease is expected to expire in 2027, but beneath the hashtag lies a deeper national conversation. While others want the government to retaliate, international relations expert Professor Daniel Kipo believes otherwise.
I wouldn't suggest that immediately we should embark on kind of revenge, and that will defeat the continent totally. But what we only need to let South African authorities know is that just as they think that African citizens are not needed in their country, they should know that their citizens are all over the 54 African states. And they are there for various reasons. Some of them business, some of them schooling, some of them, they have various. And South Africa has a great investment in African countries. Nigeria, they have great investment. Ghana here, South African companies exist. So they only need to know that what they are doing, if they don't check it, it may have a dire consequences for their citizens and dire consequences for their own businesses across Africa.
Some social media users say movements like this should push Ghana to strengthen local participation in key sectors of the economy. Others argue Ghana's natural resources must deliver more long-term value directly to Ghanaians. For now, what started as reactions to xenophobic attacks in South Africa is steadily opening a much larger national conversation in Ghana, not only about diplomacy and accountability, but also about ownership, opportunity, and who truly benefits from the country's natural wealth. Safa Boahene, TV3 News.
Meanwhile, there is a growing wave of anger and a call for retaliation on social media after the evacuation of hundreds of Ghanaians from South Africa following series of xenophobic attacks. Let's listen to the Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bentil, on his stance when he spoke on 3FM Hot Edition.
Going really well. I was thinking of collecting signatures, but it has not been necessary. There is such an overwhelming support that I think the government itself has taken notice. So the campaign actually is going very, very well. I think the government is, seeing and hearing, and I believe it will have some sort of effect. There's been a couple of discussions already about the collateral economic benefit of gold fields in Ghana. But we have to weigh that against many things. And the bottom line is that at the end of the day, Goldfields has to show that it is not just here to mine our gold, make money and go away and care less about what goes on with the rest of us. Yes, they have collateral economic benefit, but it is also very clear that Goldfields as a corporate citizen has not entrenched itself sufficiently within the Ghanaian economy. Okay, if they had, it would be more difficult to inject them. If today somebody wanted to do something like that with MTN, there would be a bigger problem because MTN is sufficiently entrenched in the economy, and what they do within the economy affects almost everybody. Okay, so you will not get the same kind of groundswell against a company like MTN, unlike Goldfields. It seems to me, looking at Goldfields as a company, that they have not done well in, making themselves relevant to average Ghanaians. I don't see why Goldfields is not listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange, for instance. In the past 30 years, you've been working here, you've made billions of dollars, and our investment terms have been particularly lenient, which have allowed you to repatriate funds. When they started, they had very few mines. So they have many mines funded from Ghana. I don't know why they are not listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. I think they can do more to entrench themselves more within the Ghanaian community and be a better corporate citizen. So I think the government has taken note.
In more news tonight, Government of Ghana announced a comprehensive support package for Ghanaians evacuated from South Africa following renewed xenophobic attacks targeting foreign African nationals in that country. Nura Mohammed breaks it down in this explainer.
The government of Ghana has announced and begun rolling out a special support package for Ghanaian nationals evacuated from South Africa following renewed xenophobic attacks targeting foreign immigrants. The intervention comes after hundreds of Ghanaians in South Africa appealed to authorities for assistance amid growing tensions, harassment and violence against immigrants in parts of the country. The first batch of 300 distressed Ghanaians out of over 800 registered with Ghana's High Commission in Pretoria have been repatriated through a coordinated evacuation exercise and landed in Ghana on Wednesday, May 27. Now, according to the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who described the attacks as baseless xenophobia, the support package was designed not only to bring the evacuees home safely, but also to help them reintegrate into society and to rebuild their lives after their traumatic experiences abroad. Under this package, each returnee is expected to receive a welcome home financial grant, transportation assistance to their respective destinations across Ghana, and a reintegration allowance to support their resettlement. Now, government is also providing free psychological counseling and psychosocial support for evacuees affected by trauma from the attacks and difficult living conditions experienced in South Africa. Additionally, the evacuees are to be enrolled into a special national database aimed at linking them to employment opportunities, skills development programs, and startup support initiatives to help them regain economic stability. Government officials say multiple state agencies, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, social welfare institutions, and health professionals, are collaborating to ensure the smooth reintegration of all the returnees. The evacuation exercise follows weeks of rising anti-immigrant protests in South Africa, where foreign nationals have increasingly been blamed for unemployment and crime, a situation several rights groups have condemned as xenophobic. More evacuation flights are expected next week, and government maintains that the welfare, the dignity and protection of Ghanaians abroad remain a top national priority as efforts continue to monitor developments in South Africa and provide further assistance where necessary. Nura Mohammed, TV3 News.
President John Mahama says Ghana's economic transformation demands deeper reforms as citizens expect systems that deliver and opportunities that drive growth. He made these remarks at the 10th Ghana CEO Summit and Awards, which seeks to recognize outstanding CEOs for their exceptional roles in their various industries. It also featured the launch of the Compact 2026.
President Mahama at the 10th Ghana CEO Summit underscored the critical role of the private sector in driving economic growth, reaffirming the government's unwavering commitment to reforms.
Made in Ghana must stand for quality, consistency, and reliability. It should not merely be a patriotic slogan that we espouse. It should become a mark of confidence in African and global markets that Ghanaian products are quality. And so the contract we have received today is intended to serve as a high-level partnership framework between government and the business community, promoting accountability, innovation, competitiveness, and productivity.
The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Kwesi Sapon, announced that an integrated tax application system will soon be connected to SNIT, the Passport Office, and the Registrar of Companies to strengthen compliance and transparency.
As you register a business, automatically you will be in the GRS system. ITAS will integrate with SNIT. So for those who pay SNIT, pension is important, but do not pay taxes so we can build the roads and schools. ITAS will help us find you. ITAS will integrate with the Passports Authority. We found so many Ghanaians with assets and income outside the country. And we see that you register with your passport, actually, when you're opening the account. So ITAS will help us find you. It's simple.
Stakeholders emphasize the need to move beyond ideas to measurable outcomes, embrace technology to create real impact, and confront unemployment as a national threat. Meanwhile, several CEOs were honored for their exceptional contributions to their respective industries, including Media General Group CEO,
Media TV Sector CEO of the Year, Media General, CEO, Madam Beatrice Ajiman.
Under the theme, Accelerating Ghana's Economic Transformation, the 10th Ghana CEO Summit brought together industry game changers from banking, communications, technology, and other sectors.
In mornings this evening, the Finance Minister, Dr. Kaisel Atto-Forson, has assured that Ghana will no longer require a financial bailout from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, in the foreseeable future. According to him, fiscal prudence and discipline have helped move Ghana's economy from intensive care unit to the wellness center.
Addressing Parliament on Thursday, May 28, Dr. Kaisel Atto-Forson stated that Ghana's engagement with the IMF will now shift from financial support to focus on reforms.
For Ghana, this marks an important shift from seeking financial bailout to engaging as a credible reform partner while continuing to benefit from policy discipline, external validation, and strengthened investor confidence. Mr. Speaker, the PCI will enable us to continue leveraging the IMF's regular policy assessment and expertise as a signal to investors, thereby certifying the credibility of our stewardship and further strengthening our credit rating.
The Finance Minister also criticized the Akufo-Addo administration for undermining the IMF program, resulting in the country missing key targets.
Ordinary Ghanaians bore the heaviest burden of that crisis. The consequences were felt across households, businesses, and institutions through rapid depreciation of the currency. It is important to recount this, to dwell on the past, not to dwell on the past, but to remind ourselves of the heavy price of fiscal indiscipline and economic recklessness, and to affirm our collective resolve that Ghana must never again return to that path.
He also outlined measures being implemented by the government to achieve macroeconomic stability.
We introduced the Public Financial Management Act and introduced commitment authorization to control government expenditure. The Speaker, we audited government arrests and payables to eliminate recycled IPCs and overpayment. We stopped the misuse of tax refund accounts to finance schemes such as SML. The Speaker, we amended the PFM Act to institutionalize a 1.5% of GDP primary surplus and 45% debt to GDP by 2034. Mr. Speaker, we reduced government ministries from 30 to 23. Right Honourable Speaker, I'm pleased to report that these measures have produced clear and measurable results.
And we stay in Parliament, where the minority in the House has called on the Ministry of Health to immediately operationalize the Weija Children's Specialist Hospital, dismissing allegations of misprocurement and overpricing surrounding the project. Ranking member on Parliament's Health Committee, Dr. Nana Eyu Efriye, said activating the facility would create employment opportunities for many unemployed health professionals while addressing the growing healthcare needs of residents in the area.
It's a considerate position of the minority that the Weija Children's Hospital must be open now. It must be open now. There is no further reason for delays in operating that hospital, especially as we need employment for the many unemployed youth, the nurses and the lab physicians in the system, etc. And also the population in Weija catchment area is one of the kind that hospital need to be operating as of now. There's been this position by government that the last regime were involved in misprocurement and delays. This is not true.
You're watching News 360 live from the News Hub here at Adesawikanda. We have more news coming up shortly. Do stay with us.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here.
Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has two of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally.
Convinced? Well, I am.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Now, the Petroleum Commission says Ghanaian businesses have so far secured about $7 billion worth of contracts in the country's upstream petroleum sector. According to the regulator, this is out of an estimated $18 billion invested in the sector since commercial oil production began. The Commission says recent government efforts to revive activity in the industry are beginning to yield results with expectations of increased opportunities for local companies. The Petroleum Commission says local participation in Ghana's upstream petroleum industry has grown steadily over the years, allowing indigenous businesses to benefit from significant contract awards and service opportunities.
Since around 2010 up to date, out of about $18 billion worth of investment in the industry, about $7 billion of contract have been awarded directly to indigenous Ghanaian companies, and about $12 billion contracts have been awarded to joint venture companies involving Ghanaian companies and the foreign partners.
The regulator says Ghanaian firms are now providing more mid-level services within the sector, reflecting improving technical capacity and expertise among local operators. The upstream petroleum industry has in recent years experienced a slowdown in activity, largely due to reduced investment and global market uncertainties. However, the Commission says recent policy measures and renewed investor interest are helping to restore momentum in the sector.
The industry is seeing a gradual revival in terms of the interest by major international oil companies. And we anticipate that there are plans for another new development to come on stream. In the oil industry, when you are doing development or you are doing drilling, that's where you have a lot of activities and opportunities for companies, including Ghanaian companies.
Speaking on the sidelines of a petroleum local content training program organized in collaboration with the Commission, lead counsel at TJW Ricketts at Law, Tekla Ricketts, said educating Ghanaian businesses on local content regulations is critical to ensuring more investments remain within the country.
This cannot be done if the regulatory regime is not known to Ghanaians, if the opportunities available are not known to Ghanaians. So as a law firm and as investment advisors, business advisors, we deemed it very important to put this together, bring Ghanaians under one umbrella to learn about the opportunities in the sector.
Now, the Ghana Insurers Association says local insurers have the capacity to underwrite marine insurance policies for businesses operating in the country. The association says the industry remains financially strong, with local insurers paying more than 9 million cedis in claims daily. The assurance follows government's decision to intensify enforcement of compulsory domestic marine insurance for all commercial imports under Section 222 of the Insurance Act 2021, Act 1061, from February 1, 2026. The directive is being implemented by the Ministry of Finance in collaboration with the Bank of Ghana, the National Insurance Commission, and the Ghana Revenue Authority. Figures from the National Insurance Commission show that only about 6% of Ghana's imports are currently insured locally, despite the legal requirements being in place for nearly 2 decades. Speaking at the Sanlam Alliance Marine Insurance Seminar, President of the Ghana Insurers Association, Boatima Bafuewa, said the local industry has the potential to meet growing market demands.
Marine has always been a policy that Ghanaians have taken. There's been some focus on the suppliers, insurers, but for Ghana, we have the capacity. We have reinsurers who are also here supporting us. So we have the capacity, we have the knowledge. It's just for us to have the business to be able to exercise the capacity that we have.
Meanwhile, Chief Executive Officer of Sanlam Alliance Insurance, Mabel Pobley, stressed the need for greater public education on marine insurance to support the effective implementation of the law.
Though the law has been promulgated, we didn't think that people have understood what it meant and its impact on trade and business and insurance itself. So this session or workshop is basically to bring people's understanding, create awareness, get the stakeholders within that ecosystem to appreciate what the law is first and how it impacts on our processes, our business, trade, letters of credit and all of that. And that's what we are seeking to do.
Now, BIC, one of the leading global stationery brands, has crowned the maiden edition of its Express Myself with My Big Pen challenge with an award ceremony at the Jack and Jill School in Accra. Management says the aim of the initiative is to strengthen their connection with young learners while encouraging their creative development.
Through personalized guidance and hands-on exercises, participants were trained to develop a deeper appreciation for the art of creativity, handwriting, and its significance in self-expression. The stationery brand manager for BIC West and Central Africa, touching on some of the impact achieved through the initiative, explained that it forms part of effort to nurture young talent.
We've seen positive reaction from the kids. That's probably for some of the school a new way to learn. I know that some are already using cursive, but for some others, that was the first time for them to practice this. And with the guidance of the teachers, we've seen that the level of acceptance of this exercise was very positive.
The Okaikwe North Municipal Education Director, Cynthia Buni, while lauding BIC's initiative, emphasized the need for young pupils to have legible handwriting.
BIC has been with us for a very long time. I remember when we were young, we've been using big pen to write. So when they came with this initiative, it was all joy for us, for the children to have this experience.
Some students who participated in the challenge shared their experiences.
We started with the letters and were able to achieve some of the letters in cursive, and we were able to write our stories and then drew some characters and items in the storybook given to us.
I would love to tell BIC that we love them so much and we want to thank them for giving us this opportunity to express ourselves with a big pen.
Management says more than 12,000 students from 39 selected schools across the Greater Accra region were impacted, and plans are underway to extend the initiative to other parts of the country.
Let's bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market. Here on News 360, I am Michael Obodu. Up next is sports.
Let's do sports here on News360. My name is Mutala Yakubu. Procos Ghana Limited, manufacturers of Kivu Gari, have partnered with the Ghana Football Association to launch a new youth football development initiative. The 3-year partnership was unveiled today at the GFA Secretariat in Accra, and the following 3 sports report has more.
At the ceremony here at the GFA Secretariat, Vice President of the Ghana Football Association, Makado, unveiled the deal and officially announced the Kivu U17 Juvenile Championship.
Express our profound appreciation to Kivu and Procos Ghana Limited for partnering with the Ghana Football Association in this exciting 3-year initiative.
The tournament will begin at the regional level, with winning teams advancing to a national championship to compete for top honors. Procos Ghana Limited marketing manager Ivan Skofi says the company's support is driven by commitment to youth development and the growth of football in Ghana.
The youth are always called the future generation, and knowing that when you build up the youth, you have a great future ahead of you. As a brand, we believe that when we start from the grassroots, they will grow with us. At the same time, they'll become better as well. So that's why we want to settle from the grassroots, which is the juvenile, and knowing for sure that they will grow with the brand and grow and also develop themselves to become better footballers or athletes in future. We thought it wise to go that way.
Kivu Gari will support participating teams with jerseys, football boots, and other essential items to aid player development. The Vice President also presented a signed Blaster jersey, autographed by Captain Jordan Ayew to the Kivu marketing manager as a gesture of goodwill and partnership. The initiative is expected to strengthen grassroots football structures and create a clear pathway for young talents across the country. The maiden tournament is expected to kickstart later this year after the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Reporting for 3 News, Mandela, Yao, Anuvawe, Accra.
To some athletics, Gladys Boateng, Janet Mensah, Janet Dakoa, Jafar Aishetu, Florence Ajimine, and Esther Obenewa were the major talking points during the 2026 Africa Senior Athletics Championship. Their performance started a conversation on the real state of Ghana's women in track and field. Beyond carrying the weight of the nation, these girls have their own struggles, challenges, and success story of how they are finding their heads above water. My colleague Akosueji highlights their journey.
When the sun was setting on 18th May 2026 during the official opening ceremony of the African Senior Athletics Championship, it marked the beginning of an unforgettable experience for Gladys Boateng, Janet Mensah, Janet Dakoa, Jafar Aishetu, Florence Ajiman, and Esther Obenewa. Before the event, Ghanaians remained divided over the decision to include junior athletes in a competition of that magnitude. Some wondered why these young girls were thrown into the lion's den while they are still learning how to survive on the tracks. But for these young women, it was the right stage to build on their supposonal achievements and gain valuable experiences in their blossoming career. To them, athletics is more than just a sport. It is more than running or jumping. Every stride, every step, every race, and every jump is steering them toward a history they only dreamed of.
Without being part of the athletics team, I wouldn't know where I'll be, because looking at where I'm coming from to where I am right now, it's through athletics that I was able to get scholarship to the SHS and then university level, then for my masters.
Me can me shall say no so anka minim baby. We say me can mama to kwine. Ama enye me ka minim kumase crack am buy. We say na mama ba school. Mama sa travel or outside.
With a master's in education in hand and a bronze medal from the championship, Janet Mensah is open to everything life has for her, especially working hard to get a place in any of the service teams in Ghana.
I'm not working, so if I can't ask my parents all the time for maybe money for transportation and stuff, so I decided, since I'm able to get accommodation in Kumasi and also the place is close to the stadium, so I decided to stay there on my own to train. I applied for the security service, but I'm still working on it, so I'm hoping for good news.
Running one of the most difficult races comes with lots of endurance, strength, and focus. While her other colleagues search for brighter future, Florence Ajiman is running every race with the weight of her family on her shoulders, knowing that a successful career on the track is also a way out for her family.
Mommy nyejuma o sa hwe me father so say be like oyare wo edem ma me na hwe ni ta ma na jai otone ma e wo market o mo na jai ama o hwe me father wo dem nti sisi ane de me sister mo to so mo tontone ma ti me frefre kwa ye den eje aboafo na me frɛ na ma ba me na ma sendi bibi na me dia to eja ne wo so mu ne ade.
Gladys Boateng, a Form 1 student of St. Louis Girls Senior High School.
Get the full story on all our socials at 3 Sports GH. That's all by way of sports here on News360. My name is Mutala Yakubu.
In my line of work, a confident smile is everything. Kale Charcoal Toothpaste keeps me on top of my game and ensures my smile is always radiant and bright.
With the tiring nature of my job, we spend several hours under the scorching sun to keep our team.
protect, project, and promote Jama music so that it will come to the pedestal that it deserves to be. And Jama is about unity.
Speaking at the launch of the Jama Masters competition, a marketing executive at Multipark Limited says the competition will provide a platform for young talents to showcase their abilities while promoting culture and preserving Ghana's heritage.
We decided to support talent. So in so doing, we chose TV3 Jama Masters. We hope to bring out the talents in everyone and support our young teaming people or the Jama groups in the system so that they can also realize their full potentials.
The unique blend of musical instruments and energetic performances places Jama music in a class of its own. Some participating groups confidently declared their determination to win the ultimate title at the end of the season.
We didn't come to joke. So we are telling all the 17 groups they should watch out for Patek because we are coming with something crazy.
Bringing a lot of things. There are some that I may not reveal now. You will see it later. Since it's a competition, there are certain tactics you have to keep for yourself. But what I want to say is that stay tuned.
The action, the rhythm and the energy live every Saturday, 2 p.m. on TV3.
And we're definitely looking forward to the premiere on Saturday. Now to some more stories. A new Netflix docuseries, Michael Jackson, The Verdict, is reigniting debate over Michael Jackson's 2005 child molestation trial. The three-part series revisits the high-profile court case through interviews with jurors, eyewitnesses, and members of both the prosecution and defense teams, offering fresh insight into the trial that ended with Jackson's acquittal on all charges. Directed by Nick Green, the docuseries comes amid renewed global interest in Jackson following the success of the biopic Michael, which stars his nephew, Jafar Jackson. Well, that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Thank you so much, Noel. On the international front, the death of 16 students in a fire on Thursday has once again sparked concerns over the safety of Kenya's boarding schools. The tragedy, which occurred at Utumishi Girls Academy, about 120 kilometers northwest of the capital city, Nairobi, follows a string of deadly fires at boarding schools in recent years. Authorities are still investigating the cause of Thursday's fire, but parents of the students, along with Kenyans on social media, have been questioning how prepared boarding schools are for fires and whether dormitories meet the required safety standards. The United States and Iran reached an outline agreement on Thursday to extend their ceasefire pending approval of President Donald Trump after Iran had targeted a U.S. air base in Kuwait following U.S. strikes on what Washington calls an Iranian drone operation. According to a source familiar with the matter, the two sides agreed a memorandum of understanding to extend the truce for 60 days, but the plan still needed Trump's sign-off. The news was first reported by a media outlet which said that negotiations on Iran's nuclear program would be held during that period.
Thank you so much for watching News 360 on TV3. My name is Martin Asiedu Dati.
I am Portia Gabo. Good evening.